Boo! Hey everybody, welcome back to Karandrin Roleplaying. My name is Kevin Manus Pennings, also known as Crack Palantir. I'll be your host and game master for this episode 164 of Brise's Tale. That's right, 164 episodes of this one adventurer. And that one adventurer, Brise, is played by my good buddy Max. And Max, why don't you say hello to our lovely fans?
Hey everybody, thanks for took a little break. Thanks for bearing with us, and we're back at it, ready to go.
That's right. I mentioned on our postponement announcement some of the recap, but why don't you go hit the highlights for us, Max, and tell us where we left off.
Where did we left off? Well, we are on a mission with ordered by Lady Miagrol, or at least her court, because she's absent right now from the keep. But bordering her lands is a tribe of giants. We know, led by a giantess known as Lady Crom, very powerful giant, capable of some type of magic, in possession of some magical artifacts. Don't know much more about her other than that. And we've been tasked with basically spying on her patrols, seeing what I can learn about their conversation about Crom's plans. So the current state of affairs with Crom with regards to Miagrol, if she were to ever invade Miagrol's lands directly, all of Miagrol's armies would be on her tribe of giants, which would be a very interesting battle indeed. But obviously, we don't want it to come to that. So whatever she might be plotting, if anything, I'm trying to learn about it and put a stop to it before it happens.
And we know that what's piqued our interest most recently is that the great eagles that you've befriended spotted a meeting between some of Lady Crom's people and a clan, another giant clan. And maybe I should say clan of giants, but and so we're trying to find the meat of that meeting to see, was it just ceremonial? Was it, just making contact, or is this a forerunner of something much more serious? And so we're going to be sneaking around, trailing patrols, and eavesdropping as an initial step to try to gather some intelligence and see what the rumor mill cranks out for us. And just the last few minutes of our last stream, episode 163, you had climbed a escarpment and found an encampment of an adventurer who is Sith, which is the lizard folk in my world in Karandrin, and she emerges from her tent, this female Sith dressed in robes, and asks in heavily accented Thax, "What are you doing here?" And that is where we start.
Yeah.
So, Max, what would you like to say, if anything?
What are we doing here? So I will.
You got me.
Respond in Thax, arms raised, no weapons. Or I have my spear in my hand, so I would lay it down and I'll say that I am. God, how do I summarize it? You get back into the. Oh, let me change this guy first too.
Okay.
I am under orders of Lady Miagrol. And I actually probably don't want to say that because I'm sure it's fine. She's heard of Miagrol, so I'm under orders of the Lady Miagrol, the noblewoman of this land. I'm simply investigating the giants that have been spotted around here. Hopefully she gets most of that in Thax.
She looks you over. Why don't you roll your gut feeling about her?
Yeah. 43. Cold-blooded.
She is difficult to read. There's not a feeling of scheming or anything about her. She doesn't seem upset at your presence, but she does seem worried that you're here. But not for her sake. It seems like your sake is what she's worried about.
Interesting.
She looks at the opening you're standing in and gestures you in toward the trees, and says, we should talk under shelter.
Voices don't travel as far. Good idea. I'll make sure my spear is by the tent. Just set it down by there.
She takes out a wand.
What's up, Obi-Wan? Oh, what's up?
Hey, Obi-Wan.
Artie Plius, are we going to the beach?
That's right. She takes out a wand and she sets it by your spear. And she goes deep into the trees, gestures for you to have a seat in the grass underneath a rather large oak. She says, "Do you really know what you're up against?"
I say any advice would be helpful. I know that Lady Crom is fearsome and skilled in the arts.
I am called Shirkal.
Okay.
I come this way too in regards to the giants. Can I have your name? I'm using it. Well,
seems like she's telling the truth, right?
roll it up.
57.
Yeah, you don't have any reason to not believe her.
Yeah, I'll say I'm Brise.
Keeping up with the patrol on the mountainside is going to be very difficult unless you have flight or teleport. But as you said, Lady Crom has arts. She may detect such uses of magic.
Right.
The giant's ability to stride over ridges, boulders, thick forest means that keeping up with them on our smaller feet is very, very difficult until they come to stop to rest. Do you have any reason to believe that these patrols have increased or are looking for escaped slaves?
Not sure about increase in patrols or escaped slaves. The most recent news I heard, though, was that Crom was spotted. I guess she herself wasn't spotted, right?
It's not been mentioned. It's
Okay.
yeah.
It was giants of Crom's house were spotted making a barter with giants of another clan, exchanging goods that seem to be items of power, or could be items of power.
There was a large party that returned not too many days ago, a week or so. She sits back and just regards you for a long while. Is there anything you want to ask?
I ask how long you've been camping out here.
On the mountain, 3 days. At this site, only 1 night.
Okay. Moving site. And how many giants how many patrols have you seen?
3.
Okay.
I have arts that conceal my fire, so it at least allows me hot food, while concealing, of course, my presence here. But I'm cautious to stay under the trees. If you go further up the slope, you'll see the passing of the giants. You'll see their tread. If you were to lie in wait there, I'm sure another patrol would come by.
Where though would they stop and rest, like you said, and perhaps chatter, so we could listen to what they have to say?
There are great shelters they build on the mountain slopes.
Okay.
You follow one of the trails in either direction, you'll come to one of those. But it's very rugged, and it would take you more than a day to get to one on either side.
Right.
They stop there for their meals, or at the end of their watch, they will sleep there and then return to the castle.
Okay.
The paths running north and south are concealed to hide the location of the castle. Should get in the habit of rolling an NPC's opinion of you. I should get in the habit of doing that, and I don't do that often enough.
I mean, they always love me, right? Why would they not? I ask, and have you overheard anything of their plans? I assume not if you're still out here.
My business is not with the patrols. It is to avoid them.
Okay.
I am seeking a secret way into the castle.
Oh.
My first visit here was some months ago, and there I found an escaped goblin slave, an escape from their mines.
Mm.
He showed me the passage that led from the slave quarters, tunnel by tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
But we were disturbed by the approach of a patrol, and we had to flee.
Okay.
I've not been able to find it since. This is my third attempt to locate it over the many months. But of course, I can't stay long for fear of Crom's arts.
Right. Hmm.
But fortunately, as a druid, my ability to conceal myself in the wild is hopefully better than her ability to find me. Or thus far, it seems that way.
I don't mean to pry too much, but what business does a lone druid have with Crom of the Giants?
I've been hired by a goblin of some wealth to find out what happened to his sister's family.
Okay.
We had a report that they were seized by giants somewhere in this area. A servant wandered lost for many weeks before making it back to this goblin's family,
Okay.
bringing the news of the giants. I have confirmed that there are goblin slaves working the mines of the giants. And now I've found an escapee who has a secret entrance.
Right.
But they don't dare all flee because it will be almost impossible for all of them to escape.
Right. Hmm. Oops.
You said that Miagral knows of the giants, knows of their presence here.
Mm-hmm.
Why has she not driven them out?
There could be several reasons. There's many other enemies Miagral has. To fight one, to pit herself against one, could leave her exposed to the others. Delicate balance is my best guess.
She nods.
But the fact that there are slaves, beneath our feet potentially is disturbing to think about.
At least 24 that the escapee knew of.
Hmm.
He was able to fake his death in a rock slide, and the other slaves went along with it. Many of them know of the tunnel that leads out, but of course, again, it's a very dangerous game to try to get more than one to escape.
Right. Unless the tunnel gets discovered.
I had been hoping to find the entrance, make my way to the quarters, and see how many I might rescue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I could promise you handsome payment on the behalf of my employer if you were to help.
I mean, it would get me very close to getting information as well to help Miagral. I don't see why I wouldn't. So I say, I agree to help you. It's definitely dangerous work, but with two of us.
You should maybe look and see if you've got any time restraints that you need to.
Right. I do say that I am expected to be back in several days. I'd say 3 days would probably be. I should report back to the keep. They're expecting me just to, watch for patrols, right? So if you don't think that's enough time, I should return first and ask for an extension.
Perhaps we could search together for a day or two, and then you return.
That sounds good.
I know the secret entrance is on this side of the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it to be further up.
Oh, hey, Gwen. Let's see there. I got
Quinn's got your lost servant right here. It's a very short servant, though.
Yeah, I guess the giants do need like goblins. It's like clean out my toenails,
That's right.
pick my nose.
That's right.
Just like a giant like mop.
Yeah. Can you do something about these crabs? I mean, come on.
They're actually like life-size crabs.
Right. You know, but my brother Andrew,
They taste delicious.
That's right. My brother Andrew was so great, like thinking things, fantasy things, and carrying them to a logical conclusion. He was really good about that. And so, one of the things that he had in his game that he ran was dragon lice, and they were like the size of a large dog. But the thing is that their bite could penetrate dragon scale,
Right,
to draw blood. And so you didn't want to mess with them because your armor would just, I mean,
crumple,
yeah, and leave a fist-sized hole in your chest. So he was always really good at that. So,
well, the good thing about dragon lice is they're much easier to diagnose than regular lice.
that's right.
Yeah, you definitely got them.
Yeah.
You're swarming with them.
If you're missing a limb, you definitely have them. That one that's dragging you around, you have that one. I can see it right there.
That's it.
So.
I recommend aggressive combing.
That's right. Combing or culling?
The comb, you need an enchanted comb. Anyway, so I asked for help, or she asked for my help. I oblige. We're going to try to find the entrance together.
She tells you that there are goblin guards that are very well paid, that are, can make it down to the goblin tunnel levels,
Mm-hmm.
and do head counts and things like that. That's going to be something you're going to have to deal with,
Right.
And there is a belief among the slaves that the giants have a means, probably through just a giant bucket, of drowning the mines, flooding the mines to kill any uprising.
Right.
And so her plan is to sneak in there, gather as many as they can, and then try to teleport.
Mm-hmm.
So Quinn's doing taxonomy for us on the dragon lice. So
Iris Draconis.
he looked that up too. That's accurate. If you go and look it up.
Wikipedia article created by Quinn.
That's right. That's right. Make it a Wikipedia article, Quinn. Sign into Wikipedia and author an article on dragon lice and give Andrew some credit. And
first proposed.
right.
It's like Darwin, right? It's like this creature must exist.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. First proposed. I like that. Yeah.
So I looking through my potions here, and so I say I do have some potions which should, give less, be less detectable by Crom's arts. Fortunately, nothing that would immediately help us. I've, potions of tongues to understand the giants if we overhear them, and then potion of sneaking and potion of flight. Now, I only have one of each of the latter, right? So that'll only be good for one of us anyway. But nothing. Invisibility would be probably the best option. Fortunately, don't have that. Although I could go back to the keep and then request
more supplies. Yeah,
right. She has a potion store and other supplies I could request. It is really nice having the keep. There's like Mirgral's keep, just whatever you need, as long as it's to her benefit, right? You can request it, and within reason, right?
Right. Yeah, if it's important enough, you'll get it. Hey, Quinn, don't forget us to send us that Wikipedia link. Would you? I don't know. I'm sure there's an approval process before you get an article actually up on Wikipedia, but so maybe we won't get it tonight.
Quinnipedia.
Quinnipedia.
Win.wiki.org.
That's hilarious, Quinn. So it's close to sundown. She had pretty well come to a stop tonight.
Okay.
She had extinguished her fire, as you saw. She went for an early, very early meal, because the climb, as you have learned, is just, it's just exhausting and just takes a lot out of you. So, but with her arts, she's perfectly happy to start another hidden fire if you want a fire to warm your food or yourself by. Of course, it's going to be chilly tonight.
Right.
She makes no offer to let you share her tent.
That's fine. I have my own. Fire would be nice if you wouldn't mind.
She nods and
so my cats are mimicking bird noises right now. The crows are outside, and then they'll respond.
So she goes back and she strikes flint and steel on some tinder, gets the fire going. You notice immediately there's no smoke from the fire. She then casts the spell on the fire. And she says, the light of the fire will not be seen except by you and I.
Did Fraldrum do? Fraldrum did something similar, right? She had a fire. It also kept going, right? It was like an eternal fire.
Yeah, she used a magical fire.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a fire modified by a spell. Yeah.
Right. Right. This is a natural fire modified by magic.
Right.
And quick trivia point: natural fire does so much damage, and magic fire does more damage.
Good to know.
Yeah. So, so you guys just pass the time talking. You erase a meal.
So I ask her, I forgot how much I know about the Sith, where they hail from. I've met one before. Do they usually hail from a specific place?
Roll for me.
Okay. 80.
They're from the southernmost nation of Karandrin. They are adjacent to the Southern Wilds, which is all unclaimed jungle. Although Theaxia and the Sith nation, Sithis, they are fighting to have colonies all along that coast, bringing in rare woods, rare dyes, setting up mining, logging, all that kind of stuff. And so there are multiple colonies, and
13 of them, in fact.
and so so that's a point of contention, especially in the ports. You hear talk of, that's going to be the next war,
right?
Is over ownership of that. But the Southern Wilds are huge. I mean, they're many times the size of the nations that are disputing them.
Right.
So
again, very much like
the 13 colonies. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I just say, it's interesting to see Sith so far north. Have you been out here for long?
You may know that magic is forbidden among the Sith.
Oh.
It is outlawed except for the clergy. My sect is a secret sect, not approved by the state. I felt restrained at home, having to hide my skills, and longed to see other lands anyway. And took first a ship to the colonies, and then traveled to a Manish colony and took a ship to Theaxia. And that was 8 years ago.
Okay.
Where do you hail from?
I say not too far from here, from Gratenlau. It's a small town, or Gratenlau is one of the biggest cities in.
No, it's a large town, but not a city. I wouldn't call it a city.
Gratenlau, a large city in Nargaz, the country we're in now. I say I know how you feel. I had to refuse suitor after suitor, so I could practice with my flail and hone my skills to become a paladin of the temples.
Ironically, you may be more welcome in my homeland than I am. There is a movement in my land to allow the other temples the same rights of magic use as the state temples.
Okay.
But neither magic items nor magic abilities are tolerated.
Right. Not even magic items. Okay.
The temples in the state are the only ones that are allowed the use of them.
The temples could have much power over the people then.
We are a devout people. To the 4 seasonal gods. that created the world. Some smaller temples from other faiths have been allowed in the ports as more people come to Sithis looking for high-paying work on the ships. It's seen as a way to attract those races that are more skilled with boats than we ever are. Is there anywhere you want to steer the conversation?
Not particularly. Oh, actually, I do want to mention the one creature I encountered on the way here. So I asked about, where are my notes here? There we go. On the way here, I had spotted a dangerous-looking creature, crab-like, charcoal-colored plates covering its body, the mouth on its underside. Do you see something similar? Camouflages very well.
I have not.
Okay.
I know of the great slope crabs. Those are much larger than what you describe, and their carapaces look like natural forestry and boulders and so on. But they're larger than our campsite. The giants will occasionally hunt one of those. Being some 20, 25 feet across, they make good eating for the giants.
Right. Just a huge 18 sticks of butter.
That's
one of those.
That's
delicious.
Right.
Hey, will you be quiet? Stop.
Which of the cats is that?
It's an omelet. He thinks he can summon these birds to him. That sounds nothing like them. But...
yeah.
Throw some men pretty soon if it doesn't stop.
It's getting close to their supper time, isn't that?
It is. Yeah, well, the other one's meowing down here, so I'm very well distracted.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Keep it down, cats. The giants will hear us.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else I want to ask her? Look at my goals right here. Oh, I'll ask her about kind of a long shot, but if she's ever heard of an artifact called the Nine-Fingered Candle. Or a being called the name escapes me now. Just like it escaped the candle. Ah!
Oh, right. The
what was that?
What is it? Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on it.
I don't know why. It was a very distinctive name, so I got to read through my notes. The Uthnorn.
She says that the only thing close to the Nine-Fingered Candle that she can even bring up is the Hand of Naziri, which is an outspread hand mounted on a handle.
Hey, 1 second.
Yes.
Guys, get out of here. Started fighting right beneath my chair. Like, boom, boom. Ridiculous. They're just asking to get their asses kicked. Please continue.
But so the hand of Naziri, a mummified, outstretched hand, and it has a clear glass circle set in the palm all the way through. What that item is supposed to do, she doesn't know, but it does involve peering through that glass.
Okay. Well, what's the hand made of? Did she say?
It's mummified.
Oh, mummified hand with glass embedded in it.
Who's not certain the race of the hand.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's it for now. So we'll just bide our time, pass the time.
So let's just see.
If she has anything to ask me. Not Momoa. That's strange.
Is that your typo, Momoa? So you have a crush on Jason Momoa?
Momoa's mummified
man parts. So you guys sort of swap tales of adventuring and so on. She has been independent for most of her time. She was with a group for a few months, but they were not very tightly bound to one another, and they just eventually just went their separate ways. Okay. She did a lot of her early exploring, not surprisingly, in southern Theaxia. You know, one of the first ports that a ship might go to, that a mannish ship anyway. And so she talked about going all the way to the boundaries of Theaxia, where it's just largely unclaimed land, and some of the frontier areas, and actually crossing over into Garduk, where the goblins are. That's right. Jason Momoa's hand is a magic item. If you've ever had them on you, if you ever had his hands on you, you know. Quinn,
just I don't know. The other hand doesn't do anything.
Quinn, I don't know if you know the story of Christian's DragonCon encounter with a drunk Jason Momoa. But you should ask Josh to tell you that story.
That's fun.
But so in Garduk, he talked about how the orcs were very dignified people, have a lot in common with the Sith in that there's a lot of societal structure and a belief that their way is sort of the right way, the proper way, and that they're the most enlightened of the nations. That landowners get to vote for their leaders.
Wow.
She had always hoped to find a castle that was rumored to be in southern Garduk, near the border of the Dark Dwarves' land of Koronok. Supposedly there were pools in the basement of that um, of that castle that could take you to other worlds via staircases that lead down into the walkers.
Hmm.
Um, but she never came even close to finding it. Um,
Where was it rumored to be? In
Southern Garduck.
Southern Garda.
So so then she sort of spent um, a good deal of time just working her way, sort of bouncing between the Penn clans and the those arid desert lands and Garduck, going back and forth as adventurers, various adventures took her.
Mm-hmm.
That's where she joined in with that group. They traveled together, like I said, for a few months. Um, um, the group was very interested and ultimately discovered a place called the Cave of Keys.
Okay.
Um, where keys were secreted from the walls, like hanging like stalactites and projecting like stalagmites and so on.
Interesting.
Oh my Lord, Quinn, that's fantastic.
Form autonomous collectives with their supreme executive power being derived from the mandate.
Does that sound familiar?
I gotta hold on.
It's Search for the Holy Grail.
This is what
The movie, Monty Python Search for the Holy Grail.
it's been too long. I need to rewatch it.
It absolutely has been too long. If you
If
don't
I
know.
can't recognize that, then
Yes.
something's wrong.
Yes. Because this is a peasant talking to them who's working in mud, talking to King Arthur. And King Arthur, like, shut up, and grabs him, right? And starts shaking him. And one of my favorite lines, come see the violence inherent in the system. Come see the violence inherent in the system.
That's right. I remember the very eloquent, like, peasant. Yeah,
Yes.
and he just is like, I mean, I probably saw it as a kid, and like, well, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck he's saying.
Oh man,
Now.
if you've not seen it as an adult, man, you are missing out.
It's been a minute. Yeah.
Oh my God, you are missing out. That and Life of Brian. Life of Brian's even better than Monty Python than Holy Grail.
My Brian is really good.
Yeah. So.
I just saw Jehovah.
Oh, that's so great. That's so great. So.
So Cave of Keys. I asked keys. Does anyone know what locks they go to? What is a key without a lock?
You take the keys, and if you're very lucky, you touch it to a lock, and it then changes. The key changes to unlock that lock.
Oh.
Now, not all of them will do it. So they said they each took 20 or 30.
Yeah.
Actually cleaned the place out of the hundreds that were there, and they came in very handy over the years.
Yeah.
We could take a break, let you go feed the cats and so on, and then we can get back to it if that sounds all right.
Perfect.
Okay. Guys, we're going to go stretch our legs and refill our drinks. So just bear with us just for a few moments, and we'll be right back with you. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Let's get Max back here. There he is.
Hey,
I told you. I told you he wouldn't leave us,
not
guys. I
this
told
time.
you. I think I'm going to start doing that. He promised he was going to come back, guys. All right. So, yeah, we're just sort of having a conversation with an adventurer we've discovered on the mountainside,
Yeah.
learning about their adventures and so on.
Yeah, I'm looking through my notes, stuff I can ask her. It's funny, as a druid, I guess she's very familiar in many different arts, but a lot of mine have to do with necromancy and enchantments, she might not be familiar with what I'm dealing with currently, right?
Right. You
Yeah.
sort of, sort of the adventures have led you to have to educate yourself.
Right.
Um, and that's where you find yourself.
Right.
That's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. Um, so, yeah, well, shall we just roll through the night then, set up your tent and so on? I should stop us and say several hours after sundown, there comes the unmistakable sound of something smashing through the forest. It is further up the slope from you guys. The fire's long been doused. Shirkal says giants and moves under the trees. Um, um, and you sort of find a gap in the trees where you can watch, but with too much intervening vegetation upslope. But there is a slight tremble to the earth.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear branches from very far up being moved. She says it'll take them some hours to reach their resting place. The sound recedes into the distance.
I asked, do they always travel at night?
There's always one traveling. There's always a patrol moving.
Right.
There are 3 patrols that circle the mountain at about this height. As the sound fades after half an hour or so, you sort of, both of you sort of just relax.
Right.
And you start setting up your tent. And wish each other good night. And let's roll up the 3 for the evening and make it to the next day.
71.
Okay. No dreams of significance.
Sorry. 90 and 31.
You have to be awakened by Shirkal.
How do you spell her name, by the way?
Sheerkal.
Sheer call. is now July 18th.
You prepare a meal. She doesn't want to light the fire since you'll be gone soon. She does take a spade and cover over the fire, cover over the fire site. And
You say it's late morning?
no, it's dawn, but
Okay.
you had to be, usually you wake up at dawn, but you slept long.
Get up. Damn it.
Do you erase a meal?
Yeah. And over meal, I'll ask, what's the plan for searching for the hidden entrance without magic?
First, we'll have to cross the patrol path of the giants.
Mm-hmm.
Then, some ways north of that, we'll just choose a direction and begin searching, hoping I can find landmarks that I remember from my last trip here.
Okay. But she said it was on this side of the mountain?
Yes.
So we're going to cross there. Okay, because it's further up.
Because, right, their path is further up. So they're going up, and then you guys will work, one direction or the other. If you start rounding the mountain too much, then you've gone too far, and you'll have to go back. And, inevitably, you're going to have to backtrack. Just the odds suggest that.
She is familiar with. I say, my spear, I have a spear of the north, which can detect useful shelter within 3 miles. I don't know if that would give off the same signature as a detect shelter spell, if we could risk that. But it would find, an enclosed area, like an entrance like that, I would hope.
I have tried the spell myself. The problem is there are so many caves.
Right. They all come up. Okay. We need a detect entrance spell.
That's right. Okay. Well, a detect entrance spell. What's the specification there? Right? Is it? Well, that's an entrance to a cave. Damn it! There's another entrance to a cave.
There's a burrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Detect shelter just shows you like where mice are burrowing.
That's right.
Broken. Okay.
What is it called when they go that really bizarre southern sport of hand fishing when you're wading in the river? Noodling, is that what it's called? Do you know what I'm talking about? It's really bizarre. So you get into like chest.
I think I've been reading Quinn's Wikipedia articles too.
No, noodling is on his porn page. But yeah, you strip down to just shorts, and then you get in the water, and what you're doing is you're feeling along the river embankment for catfish holes.
Oh, sure.
And you're shoving your hand in there, hoping it's not going to be a snake in there, and then the catfish bites onto your hand harmlessly.
Right.
Bolts your whole hand. You make a fist where it can't let go, and you pull out a nice big catfish, you hope. And my answer to that is no, in every sense of the word, no.
Whatever happened with just like line and tackle? Like
I know, right? Sitting under the shade of a tree. I don't,
Or how about just a fake hand?
Honestly, I just
little Barbie hand, stick it in.
Geez. And they're doing it in areas that have alligator snapping turtle and things like this, and I'm just like, hard pass. No.
Although I do love me some fried catfish, gotta say.
I wish I had a more refined palate for fish because I don't have a very. It tastes fine to me, but all fish taste about the same to me. I just don't have.
No, I get that. I get that. The oak mold.
Yeah, the Mulgi is the
Molgi, okay.
although it's OC Obi-Wan, but the Yamulgi is the river near our house when we lived in Macon. And yeah, exciting.
I'll also tell her that I also have one potion of flying. If you think it would be any of use, if you wanted to go up high and see what you could see, if there are any familiar landmarks.
What I know is that there's a copse of trees, a tight band of trees, growing on a relatively level stretch of meadow on this side of the mountain.
Okay. Yeah, if this was only a month ago, it should be mostly unchanged.
There's a series of boulders that almost look like a humanoid leg in repose, but bent at the knee. Some distance from that, the slope goes up sharply, and it is in that face of the slope that the entrance is hidden. I should roll, see what she's going to be equipped with.
Oh, interesting, Quinn. It says that Oklahoma shares a lot of the same names of places in Georgia because the people were forced to march there at the Trail of Tears.
Right. Yeah. It's yeah, pretty sickening era of our history.
Right.
But she's not referring to that, Quinn. She's referring to the Altamaha, which the Mulgi, of course, runs into. And the inspection divers at the dam on the Altamaha would go down to the base of the dam and to inspect the base of the dam. And divers have stories of turning around and finding catfish eyes separated by a very great space, suggesting that the catfish are 6 to 8 feet long down there, where they can just feed on the detritus coming from the
Right.
the fall out of the dam. I guess not fall out. That would be scary. Where's the stupid?
Yeah, they're nuclear catfish.
Yeah. So, you know what? I'm just going to roll it generically. She is short sword and composite bow. That's what she uses. She is she leaves them both just on her back. She's she's more interested in climbing and so on than fighting. You both discuss the fact that you're not going to fight unless absolutely necessary because you can't attract the attention of the giants.
Right.
She has many very low-level magical arts that can hide you very deeply in natural surroundings.
Okay.
And so she's not afraid to use those, even this near Crom's keep.
What was I going to say? Right. Should I probably just put my spears in my bag of holding? If I'm climbing, they might be clanging around.
Yeah, and hitting, bouncing against limbs.
Right.
I mean, all kind of.
So I'm going to slip those in there, and I'll make sure I have my. I do have a short sword myself. I think. Yeah, just a +10 short sword. I'll equip that.
Quinn, what was the length of that catfish? I think we all know it was 8 foot long, but only weighed 93 pounds. It's like an Asian model.
It has a healthy diet. Just algae and garbage.
That's right. So, algae and garbage. Like for any Asian eating in America, right? You can go traditional Asian and get really healthy Asian food, or take one toe off the path and eat American, and that's just straight up garbage.
And then you'll never get those calories back. Permanently added to your weight.
And liver damage to boot, So out you go. She just sort of naturally leads the way.
Mm-hmm.
You have to give her space because she has a nasty habit of lashing her tail as she's working her way up the mountain. You guys are doing sort of cutbacks and so on.
I suggest, I have my familiar as well. If you want him to lead, although you probably know the mountain, been here longer.
I'd say keep him with you.
Okay, so I'll keep Azrael close.
Yeah, it is just too thick to be of much use.
Right.
By the time he could see something, you guys should be right on top of it.
So we were saying is I need to get a monkey familiar.
Yes.
That would be really good. Unfortunately, very suspicious. But
that's right.
I was trying to climb, the Azrael was trying to get up to that window on the 3rd story. And just
boy, here you need your falcon, right? I mean,
actually true. Yeah, that would probably be the best for this scenario.
Good old Azrael. So helping you out now, though.
Did I already make the joke / suggestion of could I get one of the great eagles as a familiar?
Yeah.
I think they're too big. It needs to be part of my body mass, but it doesn't say anything about intelligence, does it? Like
it does. It does have to be a non-intelligent animal.
Okay.
So, and yeah, it has to be a fraction of your body mass.
What about a great eagle that was? No, I'm not going to go there.
Oh my God.
might have been dropped. The egg was dropped. She laid it from a little too high up.
A durgle. Oh my Lord.
Those are just normal eagles.
We call them orange eagles. So.
Okay. Oh.
So, again, working your way up, like we said, fairly easy going for the first several hours. Scramble and brush, but it's Nothing insurmountable. In the first hour, though, let's see, nearness, direction, back and to your left, so down slope. There is a sound, seems to be following your trail. You have to get Shirkal's attention. She has not noticed it. 200 feet away, through a break in the foliage, you see numerous creatures maybe tracking you. They're bulbous in shape, spindly legs that end in claws. They have sort of tattered, almost ineffectual looking leathery wings. They seem to move in a bounding, flapping motion, covering several feet at a bound. They're about knee high. In their hands, they carry weapons. Of good make. These aren't crudely made implements.
Okay.
Where is that sheet I'm looking for? Because I need to be able to roll random weapons. Right there, like a dummy. Couldn't find it. You easily spot a short bow in hand, a cutlass. Difficult to see the others. Clearly, they favor lighter weapons, not being very large. They're a little above your knee in height.
Right.
Did I say that? Okay.
Yeah.
They wear loincloths. Their skin seems tough and knobbly. They have heavy, curved beak, sort of like a cardinal's, but more curved. Yeah, Quinn, I think the percentage for familiars is 10%. Yeah, dragon familiar would be the bomb.
But are dragons intelligent though?
They are intelligent, so he would have to get around that thing too. And magical, and have enormous resistances. And so
All odds against.
all odds against.
But a miracle roll is always.
That's right.
Okay. So these things are just
they seem to be
through
tracking
the forest. Yeah, seem to be tracking us.
Maybe it's coincidence, but they do seem to be on your trail.
And I mean, how many? You said numerous, like over 10, 20?
At least 4. There's clearly more behind, but you can't tell how many.
Gotcha.
You look at each other quietly, and
Right.
she shrugs and you shrug. Neither one of you seem to recognize.
Right.
It does remind you of a creature you came across in the Vetch. You may remember those that occupied the tower.
Oh, you mean in the abandoned town?
Was that where they were? I was thinking they were in the tower prior to the town.
Tower prior to the town.
They seem to collect bright objects. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was in the town.
Oh, that was in the town. I think at the top of the tower. Yeah. They were bird-like. That's all I remember, though. Yeah, bird-like,
yeah,
bright objects.
These certainly seem to be of a different ilk.
Okay.
That's funny. Quinn's concerned about Brise becoming having an eating disorder and losing her familiar.
Yeah, it strains our bond.
That's right.
Okay. I mean, we just go up into a tree and hide, or maybe try to shake them. So I kind of motion for us to go in another direction to maybe see if we can lose their trail, or they can lose our trail. See if they're really tracking us or not.
She nods.
I guess they're moving kind of quietly, right? If they're tracking us.
Yes, but they're not very good at it. They're bounding motions. They're not very graceful, and so as they come down, they tend to hit bushes and things like that. But in clear areas, they're very quiet. So watching them for a moment, there are 6 in total.
Okay. The healthy house cat weighs between 8 and 112 pounds. Quinnipedia. Can't trust it.
That would be a big cat.
Rules cat Sancho Panza. Okay, 6 of them. So if we did, I don't think we're in. If we did have to fight these things, we'd at least, 2 against 6 though. Okay. So yeah, like I said, let's we take a different direction and kind of watch where if they follow us still.
You guys have a whispered discussion about which direction. She's loath to cut south since you need to go north.
Mm-hmm.
But you are headed north, and that's what needs to change.
Right.
What about, she says, setting an ambush and seeing how many we can kill just very quietly?
That's fair. We could hide and see if they, I say let's hide, see if they pass us first. But if they do seem to linger, let's give a signal and then attack.
She says, here my arts will come in handy. There is good hiding. She casts a spell on you both. You can see your skin change now. Mm-hmm. As it moves across different colors. It takes on that color. she takes out her composite bow.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to take out my flail of fairness, which is perfect for this situation.
Being outnumbered.
Yeah. It's going to be a plus 75 when I wield it.
And be laying some jokers low.
Oh, yeah.
Florida Panthers. Quinn is really into this research, man. Which I like. I think it's fun to have.
Yeah, I get a Florida Panther familiar. Very good. That's funny. Only 120. Yeah, I thought they'd be heavier.
Yeah. They're beautiful animals, though, man.
Mm-hmm.
Quinn, has their population rebounded? The Florida Panther?
Not after the Stanley Cup. Sorry. Actually, I need to check. I think they're close right now. They're still in the finals.
That's funny.
Oh yeah.
As they approach, again through gaps in the vegetation, you can see that they are examining the ground.
Hmm.
And then one will point and gesture for the others, and they are following marks that they can see of your passing.
Right.
They are abreast of you. They're about 50 feet away. They're examining the ground. Of course, you guys knowing you were being tracked helps. Thanks, Quinn. Thanks for looking that up. They are searching the area where you guys were standing. And I say we end it there.
Okay.
A nice little cliffhanger.
So we're standing 50 feet apart, or we're standing together?
You are paired up,
Right.
standing nearby. You're hidden behind trees. We are ending a little early, Quinn. Yeah, I'm just really foggy headed today. I'm having a hard time concentrating. And Max is taking pity on me.
As usual.
But yeah, so next Wednesday, we'll be back on a regular schedule, barring disaster. It'll be episode 165. We'll see if these little flying creatures are going to be able to track Sheercall and Brise, and then we'll see how it goes to search for the secret entrance into the slave quarters for Lady Crom and her clan of giants. So thanks, guys, for watching. As always, we really do appreciate it. If you think we're doing a good job, hey, like and subscribe. And if you think we're doing a great job, hop the donor box and send us a little love. If you want to hear more from Max, and I think you should, then you can find his YouTube channel where he discusses the role of original soundtracks and music in video games. Thanks, as always, to Elliot Dunovitz for their terrific character art that we use for Brise almost every episode. You can see more of their work at artstation.com/Tortolua. I've written a novel called A Shore Too Far. You can find it on Amazon in ebook and print. So thanks, everyone. Max, why don't you say goodbye to these lovely people?
Yeah, thanks for watching. Left off kind of an exciting note. I'm curious to what happens next. Hope you will join us next week to find out as well.
That's
Have a good
right.
night.